You're about to enter into Monika's universe, where her inquiry may align you to new dimensions. You're about to cross a threshold into the unknown. Surrender to the experience. The body is a temple. It is the vessel that has density and allows us to really experience through our own senses the nature of our reality. Everything I need is in my body. The body electric. Hey, the body is a temple. It's the vessel that has density and allows us to really experience through our senses the nature of our reality. The body as the logos is also the doorway of incarnation, the place where consciousness becomes experience. It is the body that is also miraculous, and it has such an incredible genetic imprint. At the same time, the most high type of intelligence that regenerates itself, but also needs other bodies to function. It needs an emotional body, a mental body, a psychic body, a spiritual body. So when one of these bodies is not in tune and aligned, the physical body could start sabotaging itself. We speak of health as always trying to repair something, fix something, but we do not speak of health as wholesomeness, as cycles between cycles, and illnesses or crises as resolutions. Not long ago, I was introduced to German New Medicine and the 5 biological laws through the awesome Friends of the Truth community. And it arrived as a puzzle I'm still deciphering, a puzzle that makes sense of why it came into my life now. So yes, relating to my mind and my vessel, with a new set of values, perspectives, and appreciation of the time that I've been taking in the last year or so to reconnect to my physiology through imprints that have crystallized both mentally and even in the tissues, and how powerful it is to be able to prompt myself back into wholesomeness by giving light to those parts that are not aligning properly now, but they are healing itself because the body's intelligence is way too perfect. It's so much connected to the creator. I had a session with Natasha recently. She's a GNM practitioner. And then I woke up in the middle of the night with a dream that really represented symbolically where my psyche needs light. So the purpose and direction of where I want to go in my life is actually showing up very clearly now. It's an internal recalibration that is emerging and is being felt and is being expanded and is also being asked to move, to move, to move. And what it has to move is the way I relate to it thought-wise, myth-wise, mental-wise. So it's all alive in the body. It's funny, my first book had a subtitle called Everything I Need is in My Body. It is there, and I've been working with GNM and noticing how these relational patterns show up as digestive tissues, skin, nasal dripping, and even eye irritation. So my body's kind of speaking, and I've been working very thoroughly on rewiring my nervous system. So very little we do know about our bodies, especially because in the last century, we've been given the opportunity to erase whatever wisdom we had acquired throughout time. It's very difficult to listen to our instincts and to our intuition because the mind is overriding by giving our power to authorities that they not even know that one thing is connected to the next. You see, health nowadays is not holistic. It doesn't integrate all the bodies. It actually separates everything and treats the symptom with chemicals. It doesn't ask anything about how you're feeling, how you're responding and reacting emotionally. It is separating everything, and thus the human becomes less and less connected to the wisdom of their vessel. When I say integration, I mean listening to the full system at once and tracking how physical sensation, emotional response, mental story, psychic signal, and spiritual orientation move together through time. This is what I call observation and correlation on a moment-to-moment basis. This feels like a very big personal win that I want to acknowledge. I've been tracking a deep pattern around belonging and speaking up in groups, and this is the first time I'm able to name it and share it from a grounded place. Being in group settings is like a dojo for me, a space to track myself and see how far down the line I have gone. It is how I evolve. I'm not asking for anything to be different. I'm just naming it because naming it helps me stay connected to myself. I was thinking basically my critique is something that I experienced in my life in the sense that I'm very fortunate to remember past lives. So I did ask my mom to take me to the needleman when I was very young, like 10 or 11 years old. And she did find a needleman, somebody who had lived in China and practiced acupuncture, and also he had studied homeopathy. El Dr. Moya. So I was introduced very early on to different and ancient modalities that are still called alternative, LOL. But for me, they're not alternative, but essential. Hence, I started having a relationship with my body differently. Although I have to admit that a lot of the processes in my life have been to recognize the amount of disassociation I've had in my body, trying to remember moments in my life that they created an impact, and I tend to forget them. But anyway, quote, consciousness permeates everything. Ishtak Ventov, Stalking the Wild Pendulum, 1977, end of quote. The body electric. The body is electricity. The body is chi, prana, elan vital. The body is information in motion. And that current carries meaning through the nervous system, through sensations, through emotions, through dreams, through timing. There is electricity that carries information in the body through the nervous system, and there is electricity that shows up through how we repair, how we regulate, how we perceive. James Clerk Maxwell writes about light itself as an electromagnetic disturbance. Quote, in the form of waves propagated through the electromagnetic field. James Clerk Maxwell, A Dynamic Theory of Electromagnetic Fields, 1864. He gave language to a reality we live inside every second, a field where electric and magnetic activity belong to one continuum, where changing conditions create waves, and light becomes an expression of that movement. This matters here because the body reads life through signal, timing, charge, and coherence. The brain and nervous system communicate through bioelectric patterning, and tissue participates through electrical potentials generated by pressure, motion, vibration, and load, which is why breath, humming, slow movement, and environment change the felt organization of the whole system, and why the tempo responds when I change rhythm. Breath is the steering wheel, then the diaphragm is the metronome, and the vagus nerve is part of how the body reads safety, which is why rhythm changes perception. Actually, I would like to say that in my second book, The Art of Synthesis and the Architecture of My Value, I go much deeper into the body, vertebra by vertebra, weaving and revealing what the body holds when I listen closely, and how the listening becomes a method of integration and synthesis. Until surgery became a main thing, humans leaned more on direct experience of vitality. And even now, surgery can prove a lot. Yet, it never quite captures the most important thing, which is energy moving through the body. When we die, something leaves, and whatever name we give it, soul, spirit, life force, that leaving is real. And it makes me curious about how to speak of that in the language of electricity through chi, prana, elan vital, through the current that animates the nervous system and organizes perception. Energy shifts form, it transforms. And those transformations can begin in the mind and then mirror as physiology, as crises, as a resolution, as a reorganization of the whole system. So yes, when I talk about electromagnetic fields, I'm also pointing towards frequencies and dimensions because integration is the point and the temple is a whole system. Quote, the moment you change your perception is the moment you rewrite the chemistry of your body. Beliefs and thoughts alter cells in the body. Bruce Lipton. I've shared before how much I've been working with wavelengths, with sound, with harmonics, and the last few weeks I got myself a frequency generator where I just listen to some sine wavelengths. Very low, I can program it. They're not binaurals, they're just waves. And I wear headphones and I can just connect to certain frequencies. Actually, sometimes I connect to the Schumann frequency. That is 7.38. And I do it for 50 minutes and I hum. And it's just like rewiring my body the same way that I do when I ground myself, I go to the beach, or when I go out and take the sun at the break of dawn. Perhaps something that's still missing is human design. Type and authority can really help us realign. Human design is an amazing tool for allowing the authority of your body, according to your type, to respond instead of making mental guess. Because the moment you let the body lead, the mind stops trying to dominate timing and the tempo comes back into coherence. Quote, we're spiritual beings, temporarily imprisoned in a physical body that is similar to a machine. Federico Feggin, interview with Eleonora Chioda, La Repubblica, September 10, 2022, translated from Italian. End of quote. Let's bring the Taoist perspective, the Tao, the Qi, the 5 elements, and the 10,000 things, because it gives another way of relating to the body through aligning with nature, through rhythm, through the seasons, through the breath, through slow movement, through cultivation. The aim becomes long life as coherence, and practices like meditation, Qigong, Tai Chi become a daily language of listening. Taoists believe that the longer you live in health, the more opportunity you have to evolve in this lifetime. Something like that. It is different modalities that can shift the awareness of your body through slow movement, like Qigong, and through fascia work that helps move fluids through the lymphatic circulation, helps drainage through the lymph nodes that protect the immune system, and brings the body back into flow. Humming reconnects and magnetizes the body again, and breath becomes a daily reset through the diaphragm, including hypopressives, and so do the vibrational plate, meditation, red light, sunlight, proper nutrition, and the simplest lever of all, the daily choice to take care of your temple. I think that's the most important thing here. The awareness that every choice you make every day either supports the temple or drains it. And this is about honoring life through wholesome experience, where you do not arrive at the end with a body that feels abandoned by you. The body is the first property, the first jurisdiction, the first boundary, and every other form of property rights grows out of this one premise, self-ownership. Consent becomes the line that keeps power inside lawful bounds, because a person's body carries conscious belief and integrity as lived reality, and that reality requires voluntary agreement for any intervention. I practice clarity about my own jurisdiction in ordinary places, including travel, paperwork, and medical decisions, because mandates, vaccines, digital ID, and coercive protocols begin where consent becomes blurred. The temple stays sacred when the individual keeps authority rooted in choice, informed permission, and clear refusal of forced participation. The temple becomes a whole life. The body carries the consequence of every system I consent to, every story I keep alive in my mind, every discipline I practice, every agreement I sign, every boundary I hold. I would like to extend what I'm up to in the terms of studies, because I keep on studying Austrian economics, I keep on reading more books, I keep on studying history and the classics, and I keep going down the rabbit hole of common law, the Magna Carta, and how the founding fathers of the United States were inspired by multiple lines of thought, such as Thomas Aquinas, Cicero, Aristotle, and the Greeks, Socrates, Montesquieu, the whole lot. I also keep inquiring into biogeometry, financial charts, and geopolitics, because all of this information helps me synthesize what I'm interested in and what connects the dots in a coherent way. Because nowadays, I do think that the sovereign individual needs to have the most understanding on how this world connects and functions, from health, food, the difference between what is legal and what is lawful, financial literacy, hard money, fiat money, shit money, consciousness, divinity, know thyself through systems like human design and evolutionary astrology, and the more sovereign you will be by 2027, 2028, the more you are going to be able to support the civilization to move forward, because you will have the skills needed, your own uniqueness, to contribute to civilization in a non-coercive way. So that's what I'm doing, re-educating myself. This is also about body work. because the way I take in information becomes nervous system, and nervous system becomes perception. Obviously, this week we have witnessed a lot of things that are shocking, but at the same time expected, because we are at the very end of a very big cycle. So what am I going to do is, instead of jumping into reading all the patterns, I'm going to keep on taking time to study different sources of information so I can come back with a more neutral viewpoint, because I'm not your newspaper. I'm not the person that you come to understand what you are perceiving in the reality. I'm just synthesizing my own journey, and then when I do, I can share it. So at this moment, I'm taking time because we're in Capricorn season. I'm taking time not to jump into any conclusions whatsoever, also because we have a very small window of another 20 days where Neptunian energies can be utilized so we can actually start defining what is real and what is being just a huge mirage. Don't let others use your body and your will as a weapon. This is also part of my work I'm doing in rewiring my nervous system through my body. And this system becomes the way I perceive reality at this moment. So I'm taking time to kind of digest the plethora of information that has been arising and trying to distinguish between opinion and more historical facts. And whatever I don't know, I'm diving in to understand. That is also why I'm taking a little bit of a pause writing about the markets, because what I discovered in the last months is that the markets don't operate individually, but they're part of a bigger scheme. So there are certain things that have been already preset and other things that are actually showing or representing the sentiment of the collective. So that's why I'm taking time. Saturnian time, Capricorn time is all about just slowing down and saying, okay, where is this going, without rushing and without jumping into conclusions? Because again, I'm not a journalist, and whatever I write is always about the synthesis of what I'm seeing, observing, and mostly feeling. The temple is devotion, and devotion becomes discernment, and discernment becomes the way I live. Have a great week. I'm going to Colombia in the next 3 days. I'm going to be talking at the Medellin Bitcoin conference. I'm going to read some of the footnotes. The 5 biological laws of German New Medicine. The iron rule of cancer. Every disease begins with a conflict, shocked, unexpected, dramatic, and isolating, affecting the psyche, brain, and organ simultaneously. Number 2, the law of 2 phases. If the conflict is resolved, every disease follows 2 phases, a stress, cold phase, and a healing, warm phase. 3, ontogenetic system. The nature of the organ response, cell-grown, loss, or dysfunction depends on its embryonic germ layer origin. Number 4, role of microbes. Microbes support tissue breakdown or reconstruction during the healing phase under brain control. Number 5, the quintessence. Diseases are meaningful biological programs designed to assist survival during conflicts. These 5 are adapted from Dr. Reich Geerhammer's 5 biological laws. Footnote number 2. An electromagnetic field is a physical field created by electric charge and electric current. It has an electric component and a magnetic component. It exerts force on charged matter, and when it changes in time, it can propagate through space as electromagnetic waves, with light as the familiar expression of that propagation. 3. Polyvagal theory, as framed by Stephen Porges, describes how the automatic nervous system, especially the vagus nerve, shapes states of safety, connection, mobilization, and shutdown. In practice, breath and slow rhythm shifts can change automatic tone and therefore perception. Number 4, epigenetics describes how gene expression shifts from regulatory signals without changing the DNA sequence itself, and it gives language on how environment, stress, rhythm, and behavior influence what gets turned on or off over time. Telomeres are productive caps at the end of the chromosomes that shorten with cell division and stress, and their maintenance is linked to cellular aging and repair, which is why the conversation about longevity, coherence, and environment belongs inside the temple. 5, Raoul Hu, the founder of human design, taught that your unique body holds your true authority for decision making, a biological mechanism like gut feelings or emotional waves that bypasses the mind, telling you what's correct for you, contrasting with societal conditioning to follow external authority figures like parents and governments. Key quotes and concepts emphasize that strategy and authority reveal your genetically unique self, guiding you to trust your inner compass over mental approval, leading to a correct and unique life path. Thank you.